So, Jason, in an earlier episode, you dropped a provocative teaser that we just can't leave alone. You coined this, I think, on the spot, but it's a good one. The PQC game of chicken. So what is the PQC game of chicken?
I was at the ICMC conference in lovely Toronto.
I love Toronto.
Here this week. And
not that lovely right now, though.
Oh, it's horrible.
Miserable outside.
You know.
But it's always a lovely city. Go on.
The PQC game of chicken refers to, I've never heard more excuses for why I can't start my PQC journey now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, Jay, do you have anything to sell me that'll fix it like a silver bullet right now? Whoa. Back up. Have you even figured out where all your cryptographic assets are yet?
Yeah.
Have you installed certificate lifecycle management so you can deal with, Tim, shortened certificate lifespans, which literally is passing ballot right now?
Are you making full use of Acme? Yes.
So, the comment back to me, and they thought this was the clincher. Friendly conversations at the conference.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody's Banco Santander. Not everybody's like, the big banks or insurance companies or big manufacturing companies that just cannot stomach risk. And those guys are doing the right job now.
Yep.
Well, what about everybody else? Mid-sized companies, sometimes very large companies, but their list of crown jewels isn't what a major financial institution is. Okay. Well, I've got till 2035 or 2090 or whatever they think it is. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't want to do it ever.
Right. Yeah, that's what's going on. I don't want to do it ever.
I'm driving my car down the road and there might be a train coming. I keep getting warned about it, but I'm going to keep driving down these tracks.
Right.
And even when I see the train's going to flinch and I'm going to win.
Right.
Okay, let's whoa. Because what the person said was, Jay, I heard what you said about the crown jewels. My crown jewels aren't what JP Morgan's is. Okay? Pick a large financial institution. JP Morgan Chase. And okay, that may be the case.
Right.
You are committing the fallacy of the underdog.
Yep.
By thinking you can play PQC chicken.
Right.
And here's why I say that. Just one example. Okay, you're totally comfortable with having deprecated but operational systems past 2030. Mm-hmm. You're totally comfortable running RSA and ECC in 2034.
Yep.
Because, you just told us in a previous podcast, quantum computers can't really do much right now, and I think it's a boogeyman anyway. And no matter any of that, I don't know anything about quantum computers. Mm-hmm. I don't have enough risk. I don't have enough skin in the game. I don't have enough crown jewels. I'll transmit my stuff on RSA or ECC, and I'll be quite happy about it. Okay. Do you have cyber insurance, customer? Yeah. Well, I have cyber systems, and I pay for cyber insurance. Yeah. What do you think your premiums are going to be, or are you going to be able to get insurance if you have deprecated encryption in your premises?
Yeah. So
what I'm trying to say is this, Tim. I think people have taken way too much of an academic viewpoint. You got to start looking at this from a business risk standpoint. And I find it fascinating that who talked about business risk more eloquently than Michaela Mosca, a university professor, an academic at the time, who was waxing eloquently about, business risk past 2030 is going to get to the point where there's going to be enough business pressure where you just don't want to do that.
Right.
So I'm going to reword what he said on our podcast, which is you shouldn't be playing PQC chicken.
Yeah. I agree with that. Or another way that I think I've expressed it to people in the past is, look, we know there's going to be some amount of risk because we just can't magically get all this done. What I want people to do is do that with their eyes open. right? We do this. Every time you get on your car and you get on the highway, you are taking the risk that you're going to be in a fatal accident. You're deciding that it's worth the benefits, that the risk of that fatal accident is very, very low. And the benefits of being able to go anywhere in the world are very high, and you're going to absorb that risk. It's an eyes open decision, right? I want it to be eyes open. If people say, yes, look, this is really difficult and it's expensive, and we consider it to be very unlikely, well, we agree with that. And if we do lose it, the stakes are such that we can absorb it, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're going to decide that we're going to put this off, which a lot of that is probably a stack ranking exercise. We don't really want to put this off, but we want to do this one more, right? That's probably what it really is, which is, I think, very responsible. Then you do that and you come to those conclusions. Or you say, look, we could put all this roadmap and resources into rectifying these things, but we still need some left for things like new product development, right? We just do. And there are other things in the world. There are other attacks too. And, we need to split it up some way. And that's fine. I think that's what a responsible person can do. If that's what they're doing, what you're describing is more of a head in the sand approach. If I don't ever look at it, it won't be real. And that isn't eyes open, and that's how you're going to get in trouble.
There is an inverse relationship. I hope this changes, but Tim, I think that there is an inverse relationship between level of technicality and how you view the risk. I find it fascinating. The more technical a person is, the closer to the metal that they are, the more that they have their head in their sand. Once you raise up to the CISO knowledge penetration rates of PQC are still very, very low right now.
Right.
Once you get to the CISO, the CIO, a little bit more knowledge about the topic. What I want is for this to be solved the same way we solved Y2K, which is where it didn't have to be known by the technical people, or technical people didn't have to have their head in the sand or not. That decision didn't matter. The risk decision was made by the C-levels. Once the C-levels understand the risk, they can't stomach the risk.
Yeah.
And those are the people who are going to restructure their organization in such a way where these projects will be resourced properly and the motivations to do the right thing will be top down and employed correctly. That's how we solved Y2K as a society. That's how PQC will be solved. It will, most of this head in the sand activity or, chatter to me has all come from the most technical people. I do not get that from a CEO or a CIO. And so therefore, it's interesting in that if you are a C-level executive, somebody on a board who's running any size of company, and you're basically saying, this sounds to me like my email might go out. So I got people who handle those problems. I got bigger fish to fry. No, you have risk that's now fundamental.
That technical person resisting it, this sounds to me a little bit like the classic I don't want to own it problem, right? I'm not the one who calls attention to the problem, because as soon as I do, I'm going to be made responsible for fixing it, and I want to be responsible for fixing it, so I'm denying it, right? It could also be an aspect of that, of kind of organizational politics.
Hey, Tim, here's something. I'm going to start to speak a little bit more C-level language that they understand very well, even to the CFO and beyond. Our advice, Tim, which is now the same advice as everybody else, because obviously they listen to the Root Causes podcast.
Yes.
Take inventory, as they should. Take inventory of your cryptographic assets, because you can't manage what you don't know you have.
Agreed.
That sounds technical. It sounds in the weeds. And if that's the way it came off from Tim and I apologize. So let me reframe it for you.
Okay.
That inventory work will dramatically reduce the cost of mitigating PQC. If
Okay.
you don't do that now, your cost center, which is the way I know all you C-levels think about IT, that cost center won't be utterly jarring if you start to understand the problem sooner than later.
Yeah.
It's a cost mitigation
Sure.
exercise as much as it is a technical exercise.
Yeah, a cost management exercise. I think that's a great way to put it.
And that's how I think, Tim, how you and I need to start talking about it. Talk about it. When we are talking about PQC now, we need to have a lot more episodes where we're talking face-to-face with CIOs and CISOs.
Okay. Good.
CEOs, CFOs. That's our audience now.
I love it.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Thank you, Jay. This has been Rick Costas.